Look at a monkey. It has a tail. Look at a chimpanzee. No tail. Look at you. Also no tail. But you still have a coccyx. The leftover bones where a tail used to be. Your ancestors had tails. Real ones. That worked. And then, 25 million years ago, the tail disappeared. Suddenly. Not gradually. In evolutionary terms, it happened fast. For millions of years, nobody knew exactly why. Or how. Then in 2021, a graduate student had a moment in the shower that changed everything. His name was Bosia. He was studying at NYU, and he had just hurt his coccyx badly. Lying in pain, he started wondering, why do we even have this bone? That question became a research paper, published in Nature in 2021. And the answer, when it came, was genuinely surprising. First, what did the tail actually do? Why did our ancestors have one? Balance. Tails act as a counterweight when moving through trees. Grip. Some primates use prehensile tails to hold branches while their hands are free. Communication. Tail position signals mood, threat, submission, availability. The tail was genuinely useful. Losing it needed a reason. Now, how does evolution actually remove a body part? A mutation appears, randomly, in one individual. That turns off tail development. If that tailless individual survives better, they have more offspring. The mutation spreads. Generation by generation, the tail shrinks, until it is gone. So which gene? That was the mystery Bosia solved. He compared the genomes of tailed monkeys versus tailless apes, looking for differences, specifically in genes that control tail development. He found it, a gene called TBXT. TBXT is ancient. All vertebrates have it. It controls tail development. In apes and humans, a chunk of DNA called an ALU element inserted itself into the TBXT gene. ALU elements are jumping genes. They copy themselves and insert into random locations in DNA. Usually they land harmlessly. This time they landed inside a critical gene. The disrupted TBXT gene produced altered instructions for tail development. Bosia tested this in mice. He inserted the same ALU element into mouse TBXT genes. The result, mice born with no tail, or severely shortened tails. The experiment confirmed it. This single genetic change is what removed the tail from the ape lineage. One jumping gene, landing in one location, 25 million years ago, changed the course of primate evolution forever. But wait, losing the tail still needed to be advantageous. Or neutral. Why was taillessness selected for? Here is where it gets fascinating. The apes were changing their lifestyle. They were becoming larger, heavier, spending more time moving on the ground. For a small monkey in trees, a tail is essential for balance. For a large ape moving on thick branches or on the ground, a tail is less useful. Large apes balance differently, through a wider pelvis, a lower center of gravity, shorter limbs. The tail became redundant, and redundant features do not stay around forever. Evolution does not maintain features it does not need. That maintenance costs energy. But there is a twist. The TBXT disruption came with a cost. A serious one. In the mouse experiments, some tailless mice were also born with spinal cord defects, neural tube defects, conditions affecting spine and brain development during pregnancy. The same mutation that removed the tail may have increased the risk of spina bifida. Humans have one of the highest rates of neural tube defects of any primate. The trade. We lost a tail. We gained a higher risk of certain birth defects. That is the deal evolution made. Evolution does not optimize for perfection. It optimizes for good enough to reproduce. Now, you still have traces of the tail. Your coccyx. For small fused bones at the base of the spine. Completely useless as a tail. But not completely useless. The coccyx anchors important muscles. Pelvic floor muscles. Muscles you use for sitting, standing, childbirth. Without the coccyx, you would struggle to sit comfortably. Ask anyone who has fractured theirs. And occasionally, rarely, a human baby is born with a small tail. A true vestigial tail. With muscle tissue. Sometimes the muscle even moves. The genetic instructions for making a tail are still in your DNA. Dormant. Switched off. The tail did not disappear from your genome. The switch that turns it on was broken. Now, what did losing the tail actually do to us? What changed? One major change, posture. The absence of a tail shifted the center of gravity. It contributed to the development of upright walking. Bipedalism. A tail interferes with the kind of upright hip rotation needed for bipedal walking. Without a tail, the pelvis could evolve differently. Wider, more bowl-shaped. That wider pelvis enabled giving birth to babies with larger brains. The chain is remarkable. One jumping gene. No tail. New pelvis. Bigger brain. Modern humans. Now, do you ever wish humans had kept their tails? Think about what a human with a prehensile tail could do. An extra limb. Always available. No hands needed. But it would have changed everything about how humans walk and sit and gave birth. You cannot have both. The upright walk required the tailless pelvis. Now, is the tail completely gone? Could it come back? The genes are still there. Dormant. Waiting. But evolution does not reverse easily. The pelvis has evolved around the absence of the tail. A tail returning now would be harmful. The anatomy that supported it is gone. What about other vestigial tail remnants? You have more than just the coccyx. You have a tailbone reflex. Tap a specific spot on the lower spine, your back arches like a cat. The muscles that would have moved your tail are still there. Repurposed. Human embryos grow a tail. At around 4 weeks of development. At week 4, the human embryo has a visible tail longer than its legs. Then the genes switch it off. The tail is reabsorbed by week 8. Every human alive today grew a tail in the womb, and then lost it. The program is still running. It just gets switched off partway through. This is what evolution looks like up close. Messy, full of remnants and half measures. Not the clean redesign of an engineer. The improvised workaround of a tinkerer. Your coccyx is not a design flaw. It is a historical document. It records every ancestor you ever had, going back 25 million years to the last ape with a tail. One jumping gene, one moment 25 million years ago, changed everything about what we became. No tail led to upright walking. Upright walking led to bigger brains. Bigger brains led to you. All from a piece of DNA that jumped into the wrong place at the right moment. If this made you think differently about that bone at the bottom of your spine, that is exactly what this channel is here for.